Hello students, this session will discuss regarding the organization of executive, that is unit 7. In that we are going to discuss regarding meaning and significance in respect of organization of executive, then with reference to executive in India, then in that organization of the union executive functions with the help of union executive and state executive. So the Constitution of India adopted federal form of the government. In respect of organization of the federal form of the government, we come to know the existence of two government, that is union government as well as state government. In that we are going to discuss the organization of the union executive and organization of state executive. So here, coming to the first concept regarding the meaning and significance of executive, it is the one of the most important organs of the government. Already we come to know the government state is functioning with the help of the government. The government is functioning with the help of three organs, that is the legislature. Previous session we discussed regarding the organization of the state legislature as well as the union legislature and the lawmaking process. So in this regard, after discussing the first organ of the government, that is the organization of the legislature, now we'll discuss regarding the organization of the executive. It is also one of the most important organs of the government along with the legislature and the judiciary. So it is the branch of the government. The work is entrusted in respect of the execution and the enforcement of laws and policies and the administration of public affairs. The main function of the executive to enforce, to implement or bring into realization or bring into implementation in respect of public affairs relating to the public matter or whatever the law passed by the parliament, it is the function of the executive to bring into enforcement. So that is the main function of the executive. The term executive can be used in two sense. So in a broader as well as a narrow sense. So whereas in case of the executive consisting of all government officials concerned with the execution of the state's will as expressed in terms of law, from head of the state, his advisor and all from higher level to the lower level. So in a broader meaning, the executive branch consisting all the government officer from top to the bottom, all are known as executors. So the main function of all these executor to bring into enforcement or making the implementation in respect of the law, whatever the law passed by the parliament, it is the function of the executive or all the executor bring into enforcement. So it consisting all the officers appointed by the government from top to the bottom. Then in a narrow sense, it consists or it refers only to the head of the state and his advisor. Head of the state and its advisor, just like that is the president as well as the prime minister. It refers only the head of the state and his advisor. Advisor means group of council of the minister. So then this way here the executive branch is consisting group of officers or they are entrusted with the work of enforcement of the laws passed by the parliament. Then coming to know regarding the significance, why the executive branch is very significant, why, what is the main significance of the executive branch, how it is functioning to run the efficient administration. To that effect, the executive is concerned with the enforcement of the law, that is the main function of the executive, and the implementation of the policies, enforcement of the laws as well as implementation of the policies passed by the legislature. Efficiency in the administration functions require, so the administration requires efficient and prompt administrators to run the administration. Then if the laws have to reach the people, the implementation is very essential. Only the legislature will pass the law. Then who should execute, who should bring into enforcement, who is having the power to realize those laws to the people? So that is the main function of the executive, to make aware or provide the enforcement of the law passed by the parliament. Then for that purpose it is having its own significance. So to run the efficient administration, mere existence of the laws are no significance. So those laws must be implemented by the executors. Then only the laws are having their own role to run the administration. Then, whereas in case of the modern state, the role of the executive plays a very vital role to run the efficient administration. So here the evolving concept of welfare state, because the modern state adopted the ideology of establishment of the welfare state. To establish welfare state, it requires set of legislation followed by set of enforcement of those legislation. With the help of those legislation, with the help of those enforcement, the welfare state can be established. For that purpose, increase the, so on the basis of the ideology incorporated by the state, it is very essential to expand the branch of the executive and make the executor responsible towards their work. Then only the executive will have its own significance. Then in ancient period, the role of the state was limited. That time, whereas in case of the primitive state of the condition, the state was limited. However, today the states are are concerned with all-round development of the individual. Not only during at the ancient time, the state was restricted only towards the functioning of the state organization, relating to the government, relating to the laws, relating to the issuing. So that time the state was not given any privilege to the development of the individual personality. Whereas in case of the totalitarian state, Nazism, fascism, dictatorship, communism, so where during that time the concept of providing the privilege towards the individual to develop their own personality was not incorporated, or the people are deprived exercising their freedom equality. That concept was not existed, but due to the modern nation building system or the modern state incorporated the ideology of establishment of the democratic principles or adopted the democratic government. Especially in India, the constitution adopted democratic form of the government. In a democratic form of the government, it is very essential to provide the liberty, freedom in the hands of the people. Then who should provide those? In the hands of the executors. So that way here, by enforcing set of legislation, so here the modern states are concerned with all round development of the individual, then from birth to the death. So regarding all the in between, all the process will be in the hands of the executors to make set of enforcement, to realize their to lead a good life in the state organization. Then that function, series of the function, expanded the role of the judiciary in a modern state. It is not only implements, though it is the function of the executive to implement the set of legislation. Apart from that, the executors also participates in initiating the welfare policies. They themselves take part in initiation of the policies, means placing the bill on the floor of the house. They also execute, then they also place the bill on the floor of the house. It performs innumerable functions for the welfare of the people. So the executive branch comprises various functions for the welfare of the people, like employment opportunities, as providing the social securities, health, education, insurance. It exercising different functions to meet the requirement of the individual, or establish, it is struggling for the establishment of the welfare state. So the concept of the participatory democracy has ensured transparency in the functioning of the executive. So there is a clear, there is no any distinction, there is no way for exercising their role by incorporation of any of the mala fide intention. So it has kept open for the people. So regarding their actions, regarding their functions, especially in a public administration, today people have the right to information. So nowadays one Indian constitution has adopted right to get information. So in that right, the people are having the liberty to know what is going on in the administration, whether the civil servants are exercising the functions properly or not. So it is kept open for the people to know what is going on in the administration, whether they are discharging their functions correctly or not, whether they are implementing the rules and regulations properly or not. So that way here the people have the right to know, get to information which ensures efficiency in the functioning of the executive. Then apart from that, the organization of the executive provides leadership and the direction to the nation. So it also provides the or build the leadership quality to run the entire administration. People look forward to solve their problem with the help of the executive. So whatever they are facing the problem, with the help of the executors, they are getting all their problems solved. It is the national voice of the people on international stage. A dynamic, visionary and resourceful executive can lead the nation overcoming all hurdles. So the role of the executive plays a very vital role to overcome any kind of unforeseen circumstances. So because they possessed certain leadership qualities, those leadership qualities itself gave the way for protecting the national interest or overcoming any of the crises existed in the state organization. So the demand for weaker and the efficiency in the government has given an impetus to the expansion of the powers of the executive all over the world. Today it can be seen that the powers of the executive and administrative branches of government has mark, expanded to that extent over the legislature and the judiciary. So it has expanded like anything, so to implement, to execute or to achieve the ideology of the state. So for that purpose the executive branch is having its own significance to run the administration by providing the proper implementation of the policies, as well as making themselves as responsible towards achieving the aim of the state organization, or they are contributing their service for the establishment of the welfare state. So sometimes they not only taking the part in respect of the enforcement of the laws passed by the parliament, sometimes they are taking the initiation in respect of placing the policies on the table and get it done in the form of the legislation to meet the requirement of the state administration. So on the basis of the contribution rendered by the executive branch, whether the broader, whether the narrow executors, on the basis of their valuable service, the state can achieve its object, or the state can establish the welfare state. This is the significance of the executive branch. Without the executive branch, it is very difficult to bring the any of the legislation. So mere existence of the laws are not sufficient. So if the parliament passes the law, then next one, who should have the power to carry out to executive? That power is given in the hands of the executive. For that purpose, the executive branch plays a very vital role. Coming to the organization of the executive in India. So how the executive is functioning in India? Because the Indian constitution has adopted the Westminster model, in which we find both the head of the state and the head of the government enjoying the executive power. So here the Indian constitution, it borrowed certain principles in respect of functioning the government organization from the UK constitution. That is, the Indian constitution has adopted the organization of the executive from the British constitution, that is the Westminster model. So inspired by that Westminster model, the Indian constitution has adopted to run the government with the help of the executor, that is the head of the state and the head of the government. Head of the state and the head of the government both are enjoying executive powers. The president is the nominal head. Then who is the head of the state? Who is the head of the government? Here in Indian constitution, the president is the nominal head of the head, and the prime minister and his council of the minister enjoy the real powers at the union level. So likewise, the governor is the nominal head. The chief minister and his council of the minister forms the real executive at the state level. So, inspired by the Westminster model, the Indian constitution has adopted organization of the executive by incorporation of the republican form of the government. The republican form of the government implies the existence of two executive. One is the nominal executive, other one is the real executive. So whereas in case of the nominal executive, the president in respect of union level, whereas in case of governor, state level, are the executive head of the state. Then whereas in case of the union level, the prime minister is the head of the government. Then whereas in case of the state, the chief minister is the head of the, along with the council of the minister, head of the government, because the entire formation of the government is done by whom? At the state level, chief minister. Whereas in case of the union level, entire formation of the government is done by whom? That is the prime minister. So that way the real and the nominal, only for the namesake the president is the head, but all the real powers are vested in the hands of the real executor, that is the prime minister as well as the chief minister, along with their council of the minister. With this structure, the Indian constitution has adopted set of provisions to run the administration by incorporation of the republican concept. So here, whereas coming to the first one, the union executive, who is the head of the union executive, what are the powers and functions casted by the constitution upon the executive branch, upon the president to run the administration. To that effect, the first one, the union executive, the president is the head of the state. President of India is the head of the state of the Republic of India. So after getting the, that is the independent. So state of the Republic of India, and he is the formal head of the executive. He is the formal head of the executive, not the real. He is the formal. So because the constitution has incorporated, constitution has given the power in the hands of the president, though he is a nominal executive, because he has derived the power from the constitution itself has given him as a nominal executive head of the government, head of the state. So here, whereas in constitution the article 52 provides for the post of the president of India, article 53 states regarding the organization, regarding the powers, functions of the president. So whereas in case of article 52 provides for the post of the president of India, article 53 states the executive power of the union shall be vested in the president and shall be exercised by him either directly or through officers subordinate to him in accordance with the constitution. So what is that? So here article 52 vests the power in the hands of the president, though he is the head of the state, but followed by article 53 states that all the powers of the union government, union's executive powers are vested in the hands of the president, and while exercising all the powers and functions of the union government, he has to take the aid and advice directly or through officers subordinate to him in accordance with the constitution. So while exercising any powers and function, he has to take the aid and advice of the subordinates or whatever the provisions laid down in the constitution. It means that he can't exercise the real power. Whatever the power he is exercising at the union level regarding any of the matter, he has to take the advice of his subordinates. Then he is only nominal executive head of the state. Theoretically, all executive powers are vested in the president. No doubt, all the powers are vested in the hands of the president. In practice, it is exercised by a popularly elected government of India headed by the Prime Minister and his Council of the Minister, who are popularly elected. Then whether he is only nominal executive, he derives the power from the constitution. According to the constitutional provisions only, he is exercising all the executive powers. So then who is the real executive? Then the real executive is elected by the people at large. So because we are discussing about the Indian Constitution has adopted a democratic form of the government. In case in democratic form of the government, we come to know regarding the existence of two executive. One is a nominal, another one is a real. Nominal is elected by the members of the parliament or the legislature, then real executive is elected by the voters. So because the real executive represents the will of the people, so really he is the real executive head of the state. So then there are certain qualifications are laid down regarding the qualifications towards the qualification in respect of acquiring the post of the president, that we'll discuss in the next session.